23.
23?
Let me see. Man and brother, ye my defense, which I made unto you. And when they heard this in the Hebrew tongue.
Yeah, 23.
Yeah.
Tell her to change this again. Because I don't be knowing where we at. Obviously. So good. Good morning, everybody. Do a little editing here. Hold on 1 second.
Well,
Good morning.
good morning, Ann McCoy. Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning.
All right. Here we go.
Good morning, Jessica. Do we send out the
I'm doing right now.
Good morning. Good morning, Jessica. Good morning.
Good morning, Annie McCrory. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Sister Lewis. Good morning to you. I'm sure Brother Lewis is not far behind. Good morning, everybody. Come on, baby. Good morning. For those of you who have family members who don't necessarily subscribe to Facebook and all the other social media sites, but they do want to see the Hour of Power, they can go on YouTube. It is the Hour of Power Extra on YouTube. And you can catch us over there. So let your family members know. Go over to YouTube. It is the Hour of Power Extra. And they can join us live.
And tell them to inbox me their phone number that they received their texts on. And I will put them in the database, and they will get a morning text from Pastor Tammy and myself saying, get your hips on over here and get this word. Hey, Jessica, what's up?
And again, we thank God for those of you who are joining us on this beautiful morning, fall morning.
It sure is. Crisp outside. Nice, too. Mm-hmm.
Thank God for
CC McCain.
You guys joining us. Good morning to you, CC. How you feeling?
CC's back.
Good morning.
What's up, C? What's good?
Good morning. So we're on the roll here. Amen. Good morning. Good morning to you too.
Good morning, everybody. Give people a chance to come in and just send the text out.
Good morning.
Melody says good morning. She's over here under my left arm, where she always is. Evelyn Crooms is on YouTube. Good morning.
Good morning, Evelyn.
To you. Acts chapter 23 is where we're going to start this morning. We're walking book, chapter, and verse through the book of Acts. And we are in chapter 23. It's been a great read, quick read. Most of the teaching elements of it we're past. And now we're just finishing up the book. I think 1 Corinthians will be our next.
Is it Corinthians?
I think so. I think 1 Corinthians is going to be our next read. Good morning, Pastor Martin. How's your mother doing, sir? Cece says she's feeling much better. Coming up on 2 weeks straight of getting sleep. God did awesome. That's good. I'm so glad to hear that. Sister Paulette is here.
Good morning,
hey, Sister Paulette. Deborah Leotti is here as well. Hi, Sister Deborah.
Good morning, Sister Deborah.
Philippians is next, and then Corinthians. Okay, Mom's doing great. Awesome. Glad to hear that. Glad to hear that. Okay, so after the book of Acts will be the book of Philippians, according to our resident
keeper of the book.
Keeper of the scroll, Paulette Shaw, will be walking through the book of Philippians again. And Taka Valentine, good morning. How are you this morning? Thanks for joining Pastor Tammy and myself.
Right down.
Acts chapter 23. So we've got 5 chapters left. These chapters just mainly deal with Paul and the things that he dealt with
in his travels.
Yeah, in his travels. Actually, we're coming up to the jail sentence that he wrote most of the letters from. But now we're going to today start hearing his defense of why he's ministering the gospel. He's going to rehearse his story one or two more times, or not his story, but his conversion story. He's going to rehearse that. That's going to be a part of his defense to everybody about who he is and what he's doing. And then he's going to, just start giving out information in letter form to the churches that he's established in Ephesus, Philippi, and these other places, Colossus. So we're just coming up on the end of the book of Acts. I think it's been a good read, Pastor. I think we got some good revelation out of it for our daily living, especially from the beginning chapters all the way up until about chapter number 12 or so. In my opinion, those are the chapters that we really, see the beginning of the kingdom message being spread around the world and how it actually went. But I like the fact that God brought out to us, hi Ray Toria calls it. I like the fact that God brought out to us that this whole book is written from the continent of Africa. And somehow, in our minds, because of colonialism and things like that, when we read this and we think about Rome and the book of Romans and things like that, we automatically are over in Europe as if the whole book was written from a European perspective. But actually, the whole book is written from an African perspective, because Israel is on the continent of Africa.
And so when we start really looking at this book of Acts, one of the things that I just wanted to tell you about that I've seen is the character of Paul's character. You see that he has a steadfast, no nonsense, no matter what, he is going to continue to minister this kingdom message. And he has a really good character. He has made up his mind, no matter what, this is my kingdom assignment. Mm-hmm. And even if I'm threatened with death, even if I'm assaulted, even if I have to go back and forth with people, proving out that this kingdom citizen, this kingdom mindset as a kingdom citizen, it is right. It is what Jesus preached. It is what he demonstrated. Yeah. And he does not, bye-bye, baby. Have a good day. He does not back off from it, even though people are toiling with him, people are arguing back and forth with him. He still is committed to the assignment. And I want to say something, to death. He even goes on to say, I believe it was Agabus who put on this girdle and said, whoever owned this girdle,
don't be bound if you go to Jerusalem.
Okay, you mess with these folks in Jerusalem, they got something for your hips. But he said unto death, no matter what, this is what I'm about and this is what I'm going to do. And that's a strong commitment. Mm-hmm. That is a really strong commitment. And I wonder how strong our commitment is to the kingdom. Mm-hmm. And the teaching of the kingdom, mm-hmm. and the message of the kingdom. How strong is our commitment? Because things get tough, do you vacillate? And I see a lot of people, they start off talking about I'm for kingdom and I stand for kingdom and it's right. And we've been doing this for 30 years and now I found out what I'm supposed to do. And the moment things get tough, the moment things are a little different from the way you used to live your life, people seem to run back to the traditions and religion of men because it's more comfortable. But you see, Paul never does go back to what he was. He does not go back to Saul. He never does. He sticks to who he is in the kingdom. I'm Paul. He has all the reasons in the world to go back to what he was before. He has all the reason. They're trying to kill him. They're not trying to just put him in jail. There have been moments where they tried to kill him. And yet, he made it okay. That shaved their head, took a vow, and said, "We will not go to sleep until we get his hips.
We ain't gonna eat.
We're not gonna eat. We ain't gonna sleep. We gonna kill Paul." And so when you have people dedicated to kill you, and you got to have other folks let you down by the wall in the back of the city to get you out of their city because people have made vows to kill you, you know, that I don't know about nobody else, but I think, you know, just me personally, I might kind of think, well, wait a minute, they're trying to take my life. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I should go back. Right. But we see people who nobody's trying to kill you, but they may be trying to kill your character. Right. And they may be trying to stop you from doing something that is going to be beneficial to your life because it won't benefit them anymore. But nobody's trying to kill you. And the fact that he stood strong in what he believed. And I think that this is a testimony to all of us. Stand strong in what you believe. Right. If you believe this kingdom message, if you believe as a kingdom citizen, this is right, stand strong no matter what comes, what goes. Who don't want to be bothered with you no more. Who don't want to be friends no more. You know, I've learned that people will say they love you till it get thick. Till it get wrong the right way. You know, when it get thick and you got to make a stand, you got some people they can't stand. Right. They'll know that it's wrong, but it's comfortable. Right. They know there's no benefit from them for them, but it's comfortable. It's what they know. It's like being in an abusive relationship. I know he knocked my tooth out. I know she jumped on me. I know she got her brothers to jump on me. I know he beat me that time and hospitalized me, but they love me. They associate abuse with love. And so you have people that do that. So I respect when I read this book of Acts and I see what Paul is going through, but he never goes back. He doesn't waver. He doesn't. I'm not saying he didn't get tired. Oh, you know he did. I'm not saying he didn't get frustrated. Anytime anybody would take a commitment to be in prison. Y'all know we don't like nothing. And if you think the prisons were like, you know, our prisons, I'm sure not. To be in prison for preaching the gospel when you could have just said, listen, I'm a Roman citizen. Y'all saying stop. All right. Right. And get your hands off me. And I'm going to go on back and I'm going to teach what I've been teaching. I'm going to go and get my pay. I'm going to go and live my life as a Roman. I'm going to go ahead on and, you know, and teach like I teach the law. And, you know, I'm straight. I ain't got to go through all this. Yeah. And you know, it's sometimes that's the truth for people like us. I know what to do to go back and teach what we taught before, but I know that that's not right. I mean, to who would it benefit? Yeah, and not only that, for me, more than that, at this stage in my life, I think it's more for me is how I view myself on a daily basis. Absolutely. In other words, you know, we could go back and say, you know, when we were attacked for ministering the kingdom, fired from ministry that we were campus pastors of, simply because the message was slowing the money flow down, because we saw how it was damaging the people's lives. You know, we could have folded and said, well, now, you know, we'll just go ahead on and continue to get this salary. But for me, at 61 years of age, I'm not really concerned about what my heavenly reward is going to be. I'm not concerned about that because I've read enough of the Bible to understand what this is all about. And for me, it's being able to sleep peacefully every night. For me, it's knowing my wife looks at me and trusts me because I have integrity, because she knows I know truth. For me, it's being able to stand in front of my children and people that know me and declare a certain thing and no conviction in your heart and be at peace with that. For me, you see what I'm saying? This ain't about getting no crown and all that other stuff. For me, it's just about when I speak from a place of integrity, and I know it. I didn't sell out for the money, and I know it. I didn't sell out to become a bishop, and I know it. I didn't cave so that I could drive a Rolls Royce, and I know it. And for me, this is where it all stems from. And I think for Paul, it was the same thing. Sure. See, he had the fame. Taught one Gamaliel, one of his top students. So he had that. People understood who he was. He wasn't holding the coats
at Stephen's stoning just because he happened to be there.
Right.
He's a protege of these people. He's a top student of this teaching. He told us that in Philippians. So when we look at these things that Paul is talking about, his commitment to it, I get it. I get it. None of it's easy. None of it's easy, because when you look at your bank account and you said, yeah, by this time I could have had, or I used to have, and then now it's like, but so be it. It is what it is. And so that the commitment to truth has to be the commitment over everything else. And this ain't about no heavenly reward and when I get to glory and all that. I like to sleep at night now. I like to go to bed like now, and I like to lay down. I like to go to sleep without no conviction about how I'm working the folks and how I'm doing this. And somebody gonna come on, send one of my clips to the black church gonna y'all check this out. I don't want nobody sending one of my clips there because I'm clowning, because I'm lying, because I'm working God's people.
Right. So
and the brother's doing a great job. I'm not mimicking him or anything like that. I'm simply saying that I don't want to be on that site as somebody that is not fulfilling what the character of Christ is, which is truth, which is righteousness, and which is sharing the good news of the kingdom.
And Pastor Curtis, yesterday I watched a clip of Benny Hinn, and someone sent him in a clip. The gentleman who says the church is going to get mad at me, and they sent a clip in of Benny Hinn, and Benny Hinn basically said, I made a mistake. And my mistake was when I went to TBN. And basically, you got to play the game. That's basically what he said. You got to play the game.
That's what he said.
And I had to play the game because I wanted to be on TBN, and I wanted
And at that time,
that's all you really had. You didn't have a lot of networks, Christian networks.
Yeah.
You didn't have a lot. So he wanted to be on the top one. And so the game was, you're going to have to raise this money. When you come on here, this is what we do. And he talked about that. I think it was some kind of praise-a-thon. And he said, that's when I got in trouble. And he said that he spent years doing things that really wasn't his character. He shouldn't have been doing that.
And he knew it.
And he knew it. He knew that I'm operating in a way that doesn't make me look good. And, there's nothing worse than getting down to the end of your life. Your body ain't working like it used to. You're not as quick as you used to be. And you get down to the end of your life, and then you question your eternal.
Or even your current.
You everything. Yeah. Am I going to heaven? Because that's what you've been preaching. So now you're concerned because you have done things that have hurt and wounded people, and you know it. And so me personally, as I am maturing and as I am facing, at one point or another, I am going to leave here. But what am I leaving? What is the staple that I'm leaving in the planet? When people think about me, what are they going to think about me? I mean, really, people play like they all for you and, oh, you're just wonderful and you're so great.
But really,
they despise you and they hate you because they know you've done a lot of things to hurt their lives. And they hang around sometime to see you get your comeuppance. A lot of these spiritual leaders think that people are hanging around them because they love them. No, they despise you in their hearts because they know that you have taken advantage of them physically, spiritually, and emotionally. And they hang around not because they love you. They hang around because I'm going to see you get your comeuppance because you have ruined my life. And a lot of spiritual leaders, and I think with Benny Hinn, he knew the people were angry with him.
Especially when he was sick and when he was in the hospital. And no one, he said, all these churches that called me.
And I helped raise money.
Yeah, when I would preach $1,000 to break the back of debt and break the back of the devil and all this and that, and people run up and give money. He said, but when I was in the hospital, only one pastor came and visited me. And I think he said he was in the hospital for like a month.
Cirillo.
Yeah, Morris Cirillo. One pastor alone came in. One.
Out of all those churches that he had, and you can't tell me that didn't do something to him.
Sure it did.
And let me tell you what he thought, because this is what I'm sure he knew. They know I'm running game. They know that I'm saying things that are not sound and not biblically correct. Because he said in the interview, I want to do things biblically.
Yeah, that's right there.
That's what he said. So obviously he knew I'm not doing things right. And so since he wasn't doing things right, they wasn't going to be right with him.
That's what Daryl said. Common sense would tell you, or ask to tell you, do these people really love me, or is it a show like I'm giving them a show?
Come on here. Come on
See?
here.
There it is, right?
And so you were putting on the show, and when you needed them, they was like, well, what were we
put on? Yeah, that was just a show. You got the money, let it work for you.
So that's what he showed yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And he asked, and then he asked the people to forgive him.
Yeah. Money makes it transactional and not relational. That's absolutely right.
Who said that?
So you got the payment, Cece. You got your visit was them paying you off for that was your visit. When it came, they didn't have a relationship with you. They used you for transactions. And this is just the truth of a lot of preachers, a lot of, I don't even know why we're talking about this, but one of the things that Pastor Tam and I discovered, and I don't think a lot of people really think about this, but Pastor Tam and I talk about this a lot. It seems as if to have a big name, you got to sell out for the money because the people who are controlling it, this is the relationship you got to have. It's got to be transactional. It's not relationship based. It's transaction based. If you can pull the money in, you get the spot. If you're teaching truth that won't necessarily convince people to pull the money in, you're shunned. And this is why you have a lot of what you have when pastors get to a certain level, you start to see things. And it's like, you begin to realize it's
about sponsorship. It's about, who's going to sponsor us, when we have our big conferences, who's coming in to sponsor us. And they know that you're not going to say or do anything that will be offensive because they don't want their product connected to anybody that will offend. So you're not going to teach truth. You're going to kind of skirt around certain things. You're not going to stand for, because that's what it's about. You're not going to stand for truth.
Right.
There are going to be moments that you're going to have to stand and you're going to skirt around it because you don't want those who have invested in you. You don't want the product that is standing behind you in your conference to pull out. They're giving you thousands of dollars.
Yep, tens of dollars.
Yeah, and they ain't giving you let me say this, not just thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars. Yeah. And because they know you can draw the crowds and they want their product up while you are having this pontification, while y'all talking, they want that product up there. And you don't want to do or say anything for them to pull that $250,000 product out because that's a part of your money. Yeah. And so this is the stuff. I don't care. And most times they can get up and just say anything, just they ain't talking Bible. They're just, it's a good cheerleading session. It's a good pump you up session. You leave real pumped up, but you have nothing that you can really stand on to make your life better. That's why you come back the next year. And that's why you come back the next year, because you need your fix. You come back the next year. And the sponsorship usually gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And then the people that are supposedly the people who are promoting this and have all this character, then you find out something about them that ain't right. Because to be honest, money will corrupt you. If you don't have self-control concerning that money gonna corrupt you.
So then you begin to see it wasn't the Father promoting them. It was them promoting themselves, because the Father would never promote the type of lifestyle that these people are now being shown to be operating in. Not when we're reading certain things about the kingdom character lifestyle and your lifestyle is opposite, yet you're the biggest name in Christendom.
You don't read anywhere where Paul is messing with children. You don't read that. They never listen. His enemies, the baser sort.
They wouldn't even say that.
They ain't never accused him of messing with no kids. Never. You don't read that. Never. That has never been a part of his care. You don't read nothing about him and women. They didn't. Okay, they couldn't even find no lie like that.
And they weren't even making up lies like that.
They was making up other lies. But he's coming against Caesar and the way we've done things. But they never came against him and said, "Hey, he messing with children. Right. Hey, he's got a harem. Right. Hey, he's
all this other stuff."
No, you never hear that. But this is because of his character. He was about the kingdom business. So let's pray. Father, in the name of Jesus, we thank you for Matthew 6:33. Your word says, but seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added. 2 Corinthians 5:17.
Therefore, if any man be in Christ, is a new creation, all things are passed away. Behold, all things become new. Let me say this too before we move on. And because I was reading Cece's comment, and it's real, it's very pertinent to the conversation. Everybody is bigger in death than they are in life. Remember that. Remember that. Everybody that we read about now and commend and laud and have days and months and streets named after were hated when they were alive. Martin Luther King got a city in every street in this country.
A street in every city.
A street in every city in this country. And this is how they identify with to put the ghettos by the Martin Luther King. So it wasn't a honor for people to name a street after him. It was so they couldn't identify. Now you go in any street, any country in America, and find Martin Luther King Boulevard, and it will not be in affluent suburbs. It will be in the poorest parts of that city. I promise you that.
Yeah.
My point is though, I used to go to the barbershop, Gents Barbershop in Detroit, on Whittier, me and my son, in the 80s, 90s. We lived in Detroit. There were people who hated Michael Jordan. He was at the top of his game, winning championship, take a break, championship. What's your point, Pastor? He was never the greatest then. But now that's the main debate. He's the GOAT. Why? Because of this now. Everybody is always greater in memory than they were in actual life, including Jesus. We love Paul, but you probably would have hated Paul were you alive and a Jew at this time because of what he stood for. So when you are hated among men in your lifetime, more often than not, you'll be applauded by another generation of men after your death, because everybody is greater in death than they are in life. Remember that. When people are setting the captives free, they're hated.
But there will be a generation that will applaud and say, you
right.
know what?
That's
they
right.
stood on that word. They stood for that.
That's
they
right.
didn't get off of it. And I can't believe that people believed that you could get out of debt for $1,000. Can you believe that people believe that? And you know what? There's a group of people who used to preach against that. Here they are right here. They made a stand and they didn't get off of it.
And they didn't have no big following. They didn't have all this and that. But look, they was telling the truth. That's later. That's for later.
That's for later.
You're getting it now, right?
Right. I don't expect people to celebrate us right now because we're coming we're coming up against a system, and we've been saturated with that system. Yeah. And so it will be years from now, our great-great-grandchildren will look back on these videos and say, that's my grandmother and my grandfather, and they taught kingdom. Mm-hmm. And they were one of the groups of people who stood against the religion and the traditions of men. Mm-hmm. And they stood and people's lives benefited. There will be generations that will get this kingdom mm-hmm. message. They will understand there was no 66 books at the time that mm-hmm. Paul was alive, Jesus was mm-hmm. alive. They will get an understanding of what the message was. What was the original message? Mm-hmm. What was the original message of Jesus? Mm-hmm. And they will leave behind these ideas that there was a Bible and what the word was and what the scriptures are. They will understand it and they will live a different life absolutely. Than we do. Yes, absolutely. They will.
And just like Miles Monroe, like Daryl said.
Oh my God.
Miles Monroe was never, but you never saw him at any of the conferences.
And he told you in some of teaching.
Manpower and all Mega Fest and all. He was none of that. But now, as people are getting free, his book's still flying off the shelf. He's bigger now than he was when he was alive.
Yeah. There's so many people who are patterning themselves after some of his teachings. They recognize that Miles Monroe understood it. Yeah. He explained it. Now we have all expounded and grown from it.
Right. Because just like people would from our messages. Yeah.
But now that he is off the scene, we go back and we peek in and we take a look at what he was really saying. And what he really was saying has liberated and freed generations.
Absolutely.
And we won't forget Miles Monroe.
Yeah.
And we know that the way he died was tragic, but I believe he did his kingdom assignment.
Yep.
He was to release in the earth to us, again, a reminder
of the kingdom message.
Jesus did not preach the Bible.
Yep.
There was no Bible to preach.
Right.
Paul didn't preach the Bible. There was no Bible to preach. Right. The disciples did not preach Bible. There was no 66 books to preach. So what were they preaching? The good news of the kingdom. Mm-hmm. And that was all. Everywhere we read, even now in the book of Acts, that's all they're talking. They might talk about the law, the Pentateuch, but when it comes down to the 66 books that we know, they didn't have that. And we have really gotten sidetracked and we have really gotten messed up. And then this is how confusion has come into the body of Christ. And you got folks thinking you got to have the Holy Ghost and speak in tongues. And so we got all these different doctrines. You got to be baptized in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. You got to be baptized in Jesus' name. No woman can preach. She can't be an apostle. She can't be a bishop. You got all these different teachings. And it's all because folks don't know what the original message was. And if you get the foundation and you leap from there, everything else makes sense. So we're going to go to Acts 23.
Okay. Are we ready now? we got to talk. You
got your Bible? You got your notepad? You got your ink pen?
This was such an important conversation to have as we study Paul. It really puts it in perspective. Great. Awesome. All right. Chapter 23. Paul now is in his defense of why he's preaching the messaging and going against the Jewish religion. In chapter 23 of the book of Acts, verse number 1, and Paul, earnestly beholding the council, said, Men and brethren, I have lived in all good conscience before God until this day. In other words, when I was persecuting Christians, I had a clear conscience. I felt like
this was right.
This was right. And now that I'm bringing people into the kingdom, I feel like this is right. And the high priest,
Ananias, commanded them that stood by him to slap him in his mouth. That's pretty what he said.
Then said Paul unto him, God shall smite thee, thou whited wall, for sittest thou to judge me after the law, and commandest me to be smitten contrary to the law? And they that stood by said, Revilest thou God's high priest? Because Paul spoke back when he was hit in the mouth as if to tell this high priest, you don't have no right to do that. Now you're trying to uphold the law by breaking the law.
Right.
The law didn't tell you to hit me in the mouth, told you to turn the other cheek if I offended you. Then said Paul, I wish not, brethren, that he was the high priest, for it is written, thou shalt not speak evil of the ruler of thy people. But when Paul perceived that one part of the Sadducees and the other Pharisees had cried out in the council, Men and brethren, I am a Pharisee, the son of a Pharisee.
Lord.
Of the hope and resurrection of the dead, I am called into question. So the Sadducees didn't believe in resurrection from the dead, but the Pharisees did. So when Paul recognizes I got both groups here, I'm going to play on that. All right. And when he had so said, there arose a dissension between the Pharisees and Sadducees, and the multitude was divided. So Paul said, I'm gonna stop y'all from looking at me, and now I'm gonna cause y'all to cause a division between the Pharisees and Sadducees based off doctrine. For the Sadducees say that there is no resurrection, neither angel nor spirit, but the Pharisees believe in both. All right. And Paul is saying the only reason why I'm here is because I'm preaching Jesus Christ, Jesus the Christ, and the resurrection proves that. And so now the Sadducees got me arrested, but the Pharisees believe in that. So really, y'all say y'all got the law together, but really y'all fighting each other. Y'all ain't fighting me.
Right.
And there arose a very great cry among the scribes that were of the Pharisees' part arose and strove, saying, We find no evil in this man. Because the Pharisees believed in resurrection, they believed that man is a spirit, and they believed in angels, while the Sadducees doubted the other. But if a spirit or an angel has spoken to him, let us not fight against God, is what the Pharisees said. And when there arose a great dissension, the chief captain, fearing lest Paul should have pulled in pieces of them, commanded the soldiers to go down, take him by force from among them, and to bring him into the castle.
And the night followed, the Lord stood by him and said, Be of good cheer, Paul, for as thou hast testified of me in Jerusalem, so must thou bear witness also at Rome. And when it was day, certain of the Jews banded together and bound themselves under a curse.
Listen.
Saying that they would neither eat nor drink till they had killed Paul.
Now, isn't that wonderful that before Paul found out about this vow, Jesus came and talked to him and told him, don't even worry about it. I got you.
Lord.
You got to go to Rome and speak for me.
How do we know it was Jesus? Because it's in the red.
Yeah.
Just
Verse number 11. Right.
Just let y'all know.
Absolutely.
Jesus spoke to him.
Yeah.
You be okay.
Yeah.
You got to go on down to Rome. You all right.
Right.
And they were more than 40 which had made this conspiracy.
Huh?
40 people.
What did they say, Pastor?
Under the they put themselves under a curse, saying that they would neither eat nor drink till they had killed Paul. We gonna kill him. I don't want nothing to eat. They put themselves under a curse. We gonna kill him. It was 40 of them. 40 of them had banded together in a conspiracy to think about that.
Yeah.
40 people, they ain't coming to fight you.
They said they're not gonna eat or drink.
We're gonna kill you
until they kill Paul for preaching the kingdom message.
Now, come on, y'all. Now, I'm sorry, but now, some of us would have been like, wait.
40 men?
Wait a minute. Now, they all tore up about what I'm preaching. Now, wait a minute. They for real now. 40 of them, they come together and they said they're going to kill me. They didn't made a plan, a plot to kill me. You know, I don't know about nobody else. I'm just talking about Tammy. Right. I'd have been like, well, wait a minute. They didn't went too far, Kurt.
Hold on.
Wait a minute. I ain't trying to die. Right. But Paul stood his ground. Mm-hmm.
So
he didn't compromise.
Look at what God told him though in verse 11. Be of good cheer. For as thou hast testified of me in Jerusalem among the Jews, so must thou bear witness also at Rome among the Gentiles.
So just be okay. I got you.
And it was and when it was day, so that was at night, the Lord told him that. In the morning he finds out.
Certain of the Jews banded together.
40 folks.
And bound themselves under a curse, saying that they would neither eat nor drink till they killed Paul.
And they were more than 40 which had made this conspiracy. And they came to the chief priests and elders and said, we have bound ourselves under a great curse that we will eat nothing until we have slain Paul.
No, y'all didn't go to the chief
priests
and
the
elders.
That's heavy.
That's a bold mess.
So wait a minute. Y'all gonna go to the chief priests, God's representatives of the Jews, and tell them we're not going to eat till we kill him. And the chief priests
and elders
got in agreement. These are supposed to be God's representatives.
15. Now, therefore, ye with the council signify to the chief captain that he bring him down unto you
tomorrow.
They plotting, y'all, as though ye would inquire something more perfectly concerning him.
And we, or ever he come near,
are ready to kill him. So they're going to put them in the plot. Y'all act like y'all got something y'all want to discuss.
Bring him down here, and we're going to be lying in wait to kill him. Now,
that's some low down stuff.
These are the chief priests.
Ain't nothing but a gang.
And scribes. These are God's representatives. These are the chief priests who sit and hear from God, and the scribes who write down what the chief priests say God just said. They conspiring with 40 men who said that they won't eat till they kill him.
16.
And when Paul's sister's son, Paul's nephew,
heard of their lying in wait,
he went and entered into the castle and told Paul. God gonna always have a ram in the bush to reveal the plans of the enemy.
His sister's son came and said, listen, this is the plan.
This is what they tell him. Then Paul called one of the centurions unto him and said, bring this young man unto the chief captain, for he hath a certain thing to tell him. So he took him and brought him to the chief captain and said, Paul, the prisoner, called me unto him and prayed me to bring this young man unto thee, who has something to say unto thee.
Then the chief captain took him by the hand and went with him aside privately and asked him, what is it that thou hast to tell me?
And he said, the Jews have agreed to desire thee that thou wouldest bring down Paul tomorrow unto the council, as though they would inquire somewhat of him more perfectly. But do not thou yield unto them, for there lie in wait for him of them more than 40 men, which have bound themselves with an oath that they will neither eat nor drink till they have killed him. And now are they ready, looking for a promise from thee.
And you know what's so good? His nephew wasn't scared to come forward and say, listen, let me go talk to somebody to stop this.
It's good to have an ally on your side.
Oh, okay. He's got his nephew who's willing to stand with him. So that's a family member.
Right.
You ain't finna kill my uncle.
Right.
I'm going down there and talk to somebody because this ain't happening.
Right. We ain't finna roll like that. Everybody who's preaching the kingdom, God will make sure you have an ally.
How about that? We have allies.
Oh, absolutely.
We have people who, they on here right now and with their pseudo names.
Oh, absolutely.
And they come from a lot of different places and they call us and they tell us, you know what, we with you. We for you. They may not want our enemies to know they watching, but they watch it and they for us. Right. And they're saying, you are helping me.
Yeah. And we have people that tell us this is what they're saying about what y'all saying.
Okay.
Yeah, sure do. We call them allies. Sure do.
We have people who say, some folks call them moles and all this other stuff. But there's always some people who are watching and saying, but you are wrong. Mm-hmm. And what they are doing is right. Mm-hmm. And they're freeing me. I know what is done for me. And you may think that I'm on your side, but I'm not, because you're wrong. Mm-hmm. And so here his nephew is, they don't even know that he's been paying attention. I'm sure, because they probably would have said
they don't even know him. Yeah. He's just in the middle. Yeah.
You don't never hear anything about Paul's sister?
Right. This is the first time you ever hear about Paul having a sister.
You ain't never heard nothing about no sister, have you? No. He ain't never talked about his family. He ain't never said nothing about my father. It was in the book of Acts when I found out Paul got a sister and a nephew.
Right.
He might have had some nieces too.
Right.
But this is the one place that he talks about his family. And he has people who are in agreement with him, who are protecting him. Verse number
22. So the chief captain then let the young man depart and charged him, see thou tell no man that thou hast showed these things to me. All right. So I got the message. Thank you. And you're going back, but don't let nobody know that you told me this.
And that you're Paul's nephew.
And he called unto him 2 centurions, saying, make ready 200 soldiers to go to Caesarea, and horsemen 70, that's 70, and spearmen 200 at the 3rd hour of the night. How many folks is that? Wait a minute. Call them at 200. Make ready 200.
Okay, soldiers to go to Caesarea, and horsemen 70,
70,
and a spearsman 200,
and another 200, 470 men.
And provide them beasts that they may set Paul on. So he sends a posse.
470 men to protect Paul from 40 men that said they weren't going to eat and drink until they killed him. They starved to death if they kept that vow. They starved to death if they kept that vow. If they didn't lie and wouldn't eat, they starved to death. And provide them beasts that they may set Paul on and bring him safe unto Felix the governor.
And he wrote a letter after this manner. Claudius Lysis, unto the most excellent governor Felix, sending greeting.
This man was taken of the Jews. Now, this is the captain of the guard writing this letter to the governor. This man was taken of the Jews and should have been killed of them. Then came I with an army and rescued him, having understood that he was a Roman. And when I would have known the cause wherefore they accused him, I brought him forth into their council, whom I perceived to be accused of questions of their law, but to have nothing laid to his charge worthy of death or of bonds.
And when it was told me how that the Jews lay wait for the man, I sent straightway to you and gave commandment to his accusers also to say before thee what they had against him. Farewell.
Then the soldiers, as it was commanded them, took Paul and brought him by night to Antipatris. On the morrow, they left the horsemen to go with him and returned to the castle, who, when they came to Caesarea and delivered the epistle to the governor, presented Paul also before him. And when the governor had read the letter, he asked of what province he was. And when he understood that he was of Cilicia, I will hear thee, said he, when thine accusers are also come. And he commanded him to be kept in Herod's judgment hall. So they brought Paul back to Rome. He's sitting here, and he is now coming before the governor. But the governor said, but I got to give your opposition a chance to get here so I can hear the whole matter. And that's where we are in chapter number 24. So they didn't kill Paul.
And after 5 days, Ananias, the high priest, descended with the elders and with a certain orator named Tertullus, who informed the governor against Paul. And when he was called forth, Tertullus began to accuse him, saying, seeing that by thee we enjoy great quietness, and that very worthy deeds are done unto this nation by thy providence, we accept it always, and in all places, most noble Felix, with all thankfulness.
Yeah, this is what he was doing.
That's like kissing up.
This is what he was doing. kissing up to Felix, the governor.
With these swelling words.
Yeah, right.
Beautiful swelling words.
Right.
Notwithstanding, see, what he think is if I kiss up to him, I'm going to get some brownie points.
See, if I suck up to him before I accuse Paul, and tell
I
him,
respect you.
Yeah, the only way we getting quietness is because of y'all, and we appreciate that.
Right.
And this guy coming to mess up the quietness that y'all providing us.
You have been such a great governor, and we appreciate what you have done for our community.
Oh, Apostle, you so great and wonderful. Have been for the blessing on your life. I don't know where me and my family with all of those stupid.
Notwithstanding that, I be not further tedious unto thee. I pray thee that thou wouldest hear us of thy clemency a few words.
For we have found this man a pestilent fellow and a mover of sedition among all the Jews throughout the world, and a ringleader of the sect of the Nazarenes, who also has gone about to profane the temple, whom we took and would have judged according to our law. But the chief captain Lysias came upon us and with great violence took him away out of our hands, commanding his accusers to come unto thee, by examining of whom thyself mayest take knowledge of all these things whereof we accuse him. And the Jews also assented, saying that these things were so. So the people that came with the high priest Ananias and all the people, that's right, they in the background cheering and clapping, saying Paul is a accuser, a heretic, and a sedition, and all this
tearing stuff up, messing with our peace. Then Paul, verse number 10, after that the governor had beckoned unto him to speak, answered. Now he heard what they said. Right. Now he said, now Paul, you go ahead. For as much as I know that thou hast been of many years a judge unto this nation, I do the more cheerfully answer for myself.
Yeah, I don't have no mouthpiece like
because that thou mayest understand that there are yet but 12 days since I went up to Jerusalem for the worship. And they neither found me in the temple disputing with any man, neither raising up the people, neither in the synagogue, nor in the city.
So that just canceled out the lie he just told that I was in the temple. He said I was in the temple. I just told you I didn't go nowhere near the temple.
I didn't cause no uproar.
So that's hearsay that he's saying. So let's throw that out.
13. Neither can they prove the things whereof they now accuse me of proving.
Hearsay. Throw that out.
But this I confess unto thee. I did this, that after the way which they call heresy, so worship I the God of my fathers, believing all things which are written in the law and in the prophets.
Now I'm guilty of preaching the message of the law because I'm a Jew. I'm guilty of that.
And have hope towards God, which they themselves also allow, that there shall be a resurrection of the dead, both of the just and the unjust. And herein do I exercise myself to have always a conscience void of offense towards God and towards men.
Now, after many years, I came to bring alms to my nation and offerings, whereupon certain Jews from Asia found me purified in the temple, neither with multitude nor with tumult, who ought to have been here before thee and object, if they had aught against me. But they not here, are they? No. Or else let these same here say, if they have found any evil doing in me while I stood before the council, except it be for this one voice that I cried standing among them, touching the resurrection of the dead, I am called in question by you this day. And when Felix heard these things, having more perfect knowledge of that way, he deferred them and said, when Lysias the chief captain shall come down, I will know the utmost of your matter. In other words, Felix, being where he was, understood and had heard the kingdom message and of the resurrection. See, it says here, when Felix heard these things, having more perfect knowledge of that way, he knew that what Paul was saying is what was believed primarily in being preached and taught. So he said, I'm not going to side for you right now. I'm not going to side for them right now. I'm going to wait until the captain come down and see if what they're saying about you causing an uproar among the people is true. Okay. Because I'm not going to judge about the resurrection from the dead and all that. That's y'all stuff as Jews. I ain't got nothing to do with that.
Right. And he commanded a centurion to keep Paul and to let him have liberty. This is verse 23. And that he should forbid none of his acquaintances to minister or come unto him. Okay. So he gave him some liberty. Yeah. Get your friends to come and talk with you.
You free.
24.
House arrest.
And after certain days, when Felix came with his wife, Drusilla, which was a Jewish.
See?
He sent for Paul and heard him concerning the faith in Christ. And as he reasoned of righteousness, temperance, and judgment to come, Felix trembled and answered, "Go your way, for this time, when I have a convenient season, I will call for you."
See, Paul preached the kingdom message to him, told him about righteousness and temperance
and judgment.
Mm-hmm. And Felix, being a man that
understood this.
Yeah, his wife is a Jew. So she would have rehearsed all the prophets and the law.
So he know this stuff.
So exactly.
He know. 26.
He hoped also that money should have been given him of Paul, that he might loose him. Wherefore he sent for him the oftener and commune with him. Yeah, so he was willing to take a bribe. But after 2 years, Porcius Festus came into Felix's room, and Felix, willing to show the Jews a pleasure, left Paul bound. Chapter 25.
Yeah.
Now when Festus was come into the province, after 3 days, he ascended from Caesarea to Jerusalem. Then the high priest and the chief of the Jews informed him against Paul and besought him and desired favor against him, that he would send for him to Jerusalem, laying wait in the way to kill him. These men they still waiting.
Wow.
But Festus answered that Paul should be kept at Caesarea, and that he himself would depart shortly. Let them therefore, said he, which among you are able, go down with me and accuse this man, if there be any wickedness in him.
And when he had tarried among them more than 10 days, he went down unto Caesarea, and the next day, sitting on the judgment seat, commanded Paul to be brought. And when he was come, the Jews which came down from Jerusalem stood round about, and laid many and grievous complaints against Paul, which they could not prove.
Yeah, of course they could.
While he answered for himself, neither against the law of the Jews, neither against the temple, nor yet against Caesar, have I offended anything at all. But Festus, willing to do the Jews a pleasure, answered Paul and said, "Wilt thou go up to Jerusalem, and there be judged of these things before me?" Then Paul said, "I stand at Caesar's judgment seat, where I ought to be judged. To the Jews have I done no wrong, as though very well knowest."
See, he knew that if he knew that if he went back with Festus to Jerusalem and stood before the Jews, he was going to be guilty. He already knew that. This is why he commanded that he stay with in Rome with the Romans as a Roman citizen, because he knew.
With you.
Yeah, he that was.
I'm gonna be judged. I'm gonna be judged among my own.
I ain't gonna be judged by y'all, because y'all are against me because I'm preaching the kingdom message. But the Romans ain't against me for preaching the kingdom message,
because they don't care about that. That's y'all stuff.
Only thing they care about is, am I talking against Caesar? And y'all can't prove nothing that I'm talking against Caesar. So I think we're gonna hang out right here.
For if I be offender or have committed anything worthy of death, I refuse not to die. But if there be none of these things whereof these accuse me, no man may deliver me unto them. I appeal unto Caesar.
Then Festus, when he had conferred with the council, answered, "Hast thou appealed unto Caesar? Unto Caesar shalt thou go." And after certain days, King Agrippa and Bernice came unto Caesarea to salute Festus. And when they had been there many days, Festus declared Paul's cause unto the king, saying, "There is a certain man left in bonds by Felix, about whom, when I was at Jerusalem, the chief priests and the elders of the Jews informed me, desiring to have judgment against him. To whom I answered, It is not the manner of the Romans to deliver any man to die, before that he which is accused have the accusers face to face, and have license to answer for himself concerning the crime laid against him." He had a right to face his accuser.
Right. 17. Therefore, when they were come hither without any delay on the morrow, I sat on the judgment seat and commanded the man to be brought forth, against whom, when the accusers stood up, they brought none accusation of such things as I suppose, but had certain questions against him of their own superstition, and of one Jesus, which was dead, whom Paul affirmed to be alive. And because I doubted of such manner of questions, I asked him whether he would go to Jerusalem, and there be judged of these matters.
But when Paul had appealed to be reserved unto the hearing of Augustus, who was Caesar at the time, I commanded him to be kept till I might send him to Caesar. Then Agrippa said unto Festus, "I would also hear the man myself. Tomorrow," said he, "thou shalt hear him." And on the tomorrow, when Agrippa was come, and Bernice with great pomp, and was entered into the place of hearing with the chief captains and principal men of the city. At Festus's commandment, Paul was brought forth. And Festus said, King Agrippa, and all men which are here present with us, you see this man about whom all the multitude of the Jews have dealt with me, both at Jerusalem and also here, crying that he ought not to live any longer. But when I found out that he had committed nothing worthy of death, and that he himself had appealed unto Augustus, I have determined to send him.
Of whom I have no certain thing to write unto my Lord. Wherefore I have brought him forth before you, especially before thee, O King Agrippa, that after examination had, I might have somewhat to write. For it seemed to me unreasonable to send a prisoner, and not withal to signify the crimes laid against him.
So, 26, Paul, now he's going to repeat the same story to Agrippa. It's going to be the same thing. Listen.
I ain't done nothing. They ain't got nobody that can accuse me of doing nothing. And this person says here, it don't seem right to send this man to prison, and
he ain't done nothing. Y'all can't prove nothing.
Y'all can't prove nothing.
Yeah.
All he's done is he's been preaching the good news of the kingdom. He's been demonstrating the kingdom, and he ain't done nothing. Right. And again, you have to just see his character, Paul's character, because he stands up for himself. Yep. He stands up for the kingdom.
Never change
he don't
story.
Back down. He don't simp out.
Right.
He stands boldly in what he believes.
Right.
And this is the character and the nature of a kingdom citizen. I believe what I believe.
Right.
And I'm not moved. No matter what opposition comes against me, I will not be moved, because this man has seen all kinds of miracles. He's seen people set free from this stuff that, has put them in bondage. People have been set free from demonic influences. He's seen this kingdom message go all over the world. He is running into people who are disciples everywhere he goes. This message is going everywhere, and the lives of people are being changed. Why would he, vacillate? Why would he move from it when it's making great strides? And when you know that what you are doing is right, you don't get moved.
See, one of the things that what we see here is what the prophecy about Paul has come to pass. Remember, God told Paul, he said, listen, don't worry about it. I got to send you to Rome so you can speak for me. Well, he is here getting ready to talk to Caesar, the highest person in the government in Rome. And he is going to lay out the whole story
again,
one more time for Caesar. And you know what Caesar said? We're going to skip down.
Okay.
Skip down to 25. No. So between 1 and 25 is just Paul rehearsing what happened to him on the Damascus road. Okay. That's all he did. In verse number 14, Saul, why persecutest thou me? It's hard for thee to kick against prison. I said, Lord, who are you? Rise, stand up on your feet, appear to me this purpose, make you a minister and a witness to liberty to the people of the Gentile. Open the eyes, turn. Well, we might need to read that. We might need to read that.
You think so? Let's read.
Verse 14, 26 and 14. And when we were all fallen to the earth, I heard a voice speaking unto me and saying, in the Hebrew tongue, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? It is hard for thee to kick against the pricks. Now, again, this is Paul rehearsing this to Caesar. Caesar said, okay, Paul, you hear? I heard what they said. Go ahead, speak for yourself. And I said, who art thou, Lord? And he said, I am Jesus, whom thou persecutest. But rise and stand upon your feet, for I have appeared unto thee for this purpose, to make you a minister and a witness both of these things which thou hast seen, and of those things in the which I will appear unto thee, delivering thee from the people, right? Yes. He did that. And from the Gentiles, unto whom now I send thee, for what? To open their eyes and to turn them from darkness to light and from the power of Satan unto God, that they may receive forgiveness of sins and inheritance among them which are sanctified by faith that is in me. Wherefore, O King Agrippa, I was not disobedient unto the heavenly vision.
My God.
See, this is what happened to me, and I'm telling you,
I'm doing what God said do.
But show first unto them of Damascus and at Jerusalem and throughout all the coast of Judea, and then to the Gentiles, that they should repent and turn to God and do the works meet for repentance. For these causes the Jews caught me in the temple and went about to kill me. Having therefore obtained help of God, I continue unto this day, witnessing both to small and great, saying none other things than those which the prophets and Moses did say should come. You know about that, your wife, isn't it? That Christ should suffer, and that he should be the first that should rise from the dead, and should show light unto the people and to the Gentiles. And as for thus spake for himself, Festus said with a loud voice, Paul, thou art beside thyself. Much learned this make thee mad.
He said, you lost your mind.
Now, Festus, the governor, is saying that while Paul is talking to Caesar, because let me tell you what I think is happening. Festus is looking at Caesar and saying, wait a minute, he buying into this.
Right.
Let me
interject something.
See, because the truth is what Paul is doing here is preaching the gospel.
Absolutely.
And when the gospel is preached,
it pricks people's heart. And he's starting to see he buying into it. Let me tell him he crazy.
Let me disturb the thoughts that Caesar was having, because he's hearing the gospel, y'all.
And that's what happens to people right now. They hear the good news of the kingdom, and religion and the traditions of men try to come in and interject. They crazy.
See, when you hear truth, it goes to the heart.
Okay.
See, sometimes truth bypasses the mind, goes to the heart. Then you have to go back and get your mind in agreement with what your heart heard. Spirit touches spirit. And so I believe that what was going on while Paul was preaching this good news of the kingdom and talking about what Christ did, Augustus Caesar was like, wait a minute, this is true.
Right.
Because Paul said, this is all this is what the law and the prophets said would happen.
Come on.
Verse number 25.
But he said, I'm not mad, most noble Festus, but speak forth the words of truth and soberness.
For the king knows of these things, before whom also I speak freely. For I am persuaded that none of these things are hidden from him, for this thing was not done in a corner. Watch this. King Agrippa, believest thou the prophets? I know that you believe the prophets. Watch 28.
Then Agrippa said unto Paul, almost thou hast persuaded me to be a Christian. You almost had it. You almost had it.
Huh? What did King Agrippa say? Now, he ain't going to say no. He ain't going to say he don't agree. He don't believe the prophets. See, he married a woman that believed the prophets.
Come on.
So he's like, wait a minute now. I've heard this every Sabbath day too many times. And Paul's right. That is what the law and prophets said. So when Festus tried to interrupt it, Paul brought it right back and put it right back. So do you?
You believe the prophets?
I know you do. King Agrippa, believest thou the prophets? I know that thou believest. Then Agrippa said unto Paul, almost thou persuadest me to be a Christian. And Paul said, I would to God that not only you, but also all that hear me this day were both almost and altogether such as I am, except these chains.
And when he had thus spoken, the king rose up, and the governor, and Bernice, and they that sat with them. And when they were gone aside, they talked between themselves, saying, this man doeth nothing worthy of death or bondage. Then said Agrippa unto Festus, this man might have been set at liberty if he had not appealed unto Caesar.
Y'all see that? He got to go to Caesar because he said, I want to take it all the way up to the highest court. But when they went together, they said, we would have to let him go.
Right.
But
he appealed to Caesar.
We can't let him go. We got to take him to Caesar.
It's the way we do things. He said he want to see Caesar. Obviously he want to preach this to Caesar.
That's what it's called to do.
So we're going to let him go on to see Caesar.
But this teaching of the kingdom message, as you can see, is designed for governments. Remember, Jesus was taken to Pilate, the highest in that region in the government at that time. Paul is sent to governments. See, this bypassed the Jews, churchy stuff, religion, because the kingdom is government. Y'all see that? Yes, the kingdom is government. It bypassed religion.
Come on.
But Christianity keeps you right at religion and doesn't allow you to be exalted up to governing yourself.
I like that. Did y'all hear that? Yeah. Governing your life.
Yeah. Governing your own life. This is what the kingdom message is about. The kingdom message is about government. It's not about religion and controlling men's life. It's about giving you the privilege and the information and establishing you to govern your own life.
Wait a minute, that's heavy. That's heavy right there. Y'all sit in that for a minute.
Mm.
You mean the kingdom message is about me governing
Absolutely.
my life, taking authority over my own life,
Absolutely.
controlling my own life, making decisions, righteous, holy decisions about my life.
Absolutely.
It's my life.
Absolutely.
And I have a right to make the decision, nay or yay.
Absolutely.
I do.
Absolutely.
Wouldn't it be wonderful if we have started to walk this way?
Mm-hmm.
If this teaching would just become so prevalent that
Mm-hmm.
we start governing our lives and stop letting religion and the traditions of men control
Mm-hmm.
us with fear
Mm-hmm.
and doubt and misinformation.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much misinformation that has caused so much fear and doubt and misunderstanding.
Control.
Because somebody wants to control the masses.
Same thing going on in America right now. If you had the kingdom governing you, you wouldn't have people trying to take away any rights and control. And this is the same thing we got going on right now. You have Christian nationalism, which is religion, wanting to control everybody's life.
If you would be honest and just take a look at the average church setting, the four-wall building setting, I don't care what denomination you are, just take a look at it. Honestly, take all your emotions and feelings out of it and just look at what you're being taught. Somebody is teaching you to be controlled.
Yep. That's what religion does.
No, take all I love the preacher and all that. Take that out for a minute.
Yeah. Take your love for God to the side for a second and just look at the system.
Because it's a system.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a constant control. You have to go to church on Sunday. Don't forsake the assembly of yourselves together. Okay, but I can't even take a class because I feel guilty if I do. I can't spend time with my family. I feel guilty if I do. If I take vacation, somebody's got to tell me whether or not it's okay for me to take vacation because, I got a commitment to the church. And so there's a lot of control. And then on top of that, there's a lot of fear in the control. If you don't do A, B, and C, God's going to come against you. If you don't do A, B, and C, there's a curse that's going to come up on you. And it's a bunch of control mechanism. Anytime you get ready to think for yourself, they push the button of control.
Right.
You getting ready to think for yourself.
Right. It's
like the whip. It's like the slave master's whip. You don't run. You don't think for yourself. You do like I tell you. And so we have that same kind of mindset in the church. The moment that anybody starts thinking a little different, touch not my anointing and do my prophet no harm. Right. You don't question what I'm saying. Right. You don't question God and you don't question me because I'm God in the physical. So you can't question anything. You can't think about anything differently. If you decide to do anything different, you are operating outside the mandate of God. If you want to do anything, you're out in the spirit illegally. You got all these folks trying to tell you so many different things, and it's always about controlling you. That this pastor over here says, don't you do this, that, and other, because you're entering the spirit realm illegally. Well, how is that when I walk in both realms?
I'm always in the spirit realm.
I never left the realm of the spirit. What are you talking about? And so you have all these different mandates, you have all these different mechanisms to control people, and it's always done in fear. But the truth of the matter is the kingdom comes along to set you free and allows you to govern your own life with the information of the kingdom. Nobody knows your life like God because he knows where he has placed you in the body. And that's why it's important for you to have your own personal relationship so that you can have dominion, that you can govern your life. You talk about liberty. Everybody talking about, I want to be free. You talk about liberty.
Yep.
When you get free in your mind to govern your own life. Now, y'all, somebody need to listen to what I'm saying. Govern your own life. That's something totally different than religion.
Yep.
Totally different. It's so far out of the scope of religion that when people hear it, they get scared. They try, but they've been beat down so long that some of them just can't do it.
Yep.
And they go back.
Because people who are in fear are easier to control. And again, this is why you see what you see in America. This is why they want the National Guard to be put and walk through the streets, because they want you in fear. They want you in fear so that they can control.
And do what they want to do.
Absolutely.
Pillage and rape the populace.
That's it.
We're going to take all your money. We're going to take all your freedoms. We're going to take all your liberties.
That's what
and if you don't do what we say, we're going to throw you out of the country.
Yeah.
But when you learn to govern, and it has to come from this place, govern your own life. When people, you can't be afraid to think. And I think religion has done a good job in keeping people docile and afraid to think. The moment that you start to think, you are now an enemy.
Right.
I heard a preacher say, because somebody didn't agree with his verbiage while he was ministering, and they said, well, I don't agree with the cussing. You need to deal with your cussing because you don't say nothing against me. My gang will come after you. So you got folks that will threaten you when you say, you have the freedom of cussing. You did that. I have the freedom of saying you ain't supposed to be doing that in God's house. Right. You ain't supposed to be doing that over God's people. You ain't supposed to be doing that in the name of God.
Right. But you got the freedom to say it. But I ain't got the freedom
to say that's wrong.
No.
So, and then because I said it was wrong, I didn't bash you. I just said, come on now. We ain't supposed to be cussing. Now you want to send the gang out. So we're always, when you start being liberated to think for yourself, you always got this component in there that somebody's going to try to hurt you or want to hurt you or something bad is going to happen to you. How many of us been in situations where we decided that, I don't agree with this. And I'm not talking about in the four-wall building, in your particular denomination. I don't agree with this. And the moment that you show disagreement, here come all the accusations. Here comes all the cursing. It ain't good to touch God's anointing. You better be careful. So I don't have the liberty to say, well, I don't think that I should give my bill money.
Right. You ain't supporting the vision.
Whose vision? I made a covenant with these folks. I gave my word, and I got the money. But you got somebody over here telling you, but you're going to miss the blessing. See, this going to be the time you miss the blessing. And then they like to put folks up to try to convince you that you getting ready to miss out on something. Yeah, that time I did so-and-so, and I almost didn't do it, Pastor, but I did it, and this is what happened. I don't know that that's true because I don't live with you. So this is why it's important to get this kingdom message so you can govern your own life.
And this is why God wanted Paul to stand pat on who he is, preach this message to those that are governing.
Yes.
And it was very, very important. So, this is why we teach the kingdom message, so that you can govern your own life. Because we're not supposed to give the authority to govern our lives to anybody. Not the king, not the president, not a constitution, none of that. We have the right to govern our own lives. The fact that you were born on this planet means that you have a right to govern your own life. And you shouldn't be yielding that authority to anybody. You got a right to choose your own life.
Somebody said, this is Go Rose said, but this generation Z are not having that. They will and are fighting back. They are a different generation.
They definitely are.
It's something different. You're not going, you sit and you watch some of the things that go on social media. They ain't taking nobody calling them the N-word. They ain't taking nobody walking up to them, spitting on them and slapping them. They ain't taking none of that. They ain't taking nobody just because you're a mature person. They're not going to take you talking to them crazy. They're going to put you in your place. And a lot of times people assume because I'm mature, I can say anything to you. But this generation, it might work for mine. We might just overlook it. But this generation here, they ain't overlooking it. I don't care how old you are. They're not going to allow you to disrespect them. And so this is a different generation, and they have to be handled differently.
Right.
You can't just talk to them any kind of way because they're not going to take it for whatever reason.
Right.
For whatever reason. I don't know what God is doing with this Z generation. I don't know it because I'm not that generation, but something in them.
They need it too, whatever it is that God.
Whatever is coming in this planet or on this planet right now, they need to be the way they are.
Yep.
They don't have no back down. Have you ever just dealt with them? They have no back down.
Right.
It almost looks like they're crazy. Because you ask yourself, what's crazy?
No, they got what they need.
Every generation comes into the planet with what they need. So again, governing your life. Let's be an example of what it looks like to govern our lives. And we are the generation that have to come away from the bondage of religion.
Yeah, right.
We got to come away from it.
Yep, because it's bondage.
If we're going to have success before we leave here, if we're going to be successful before we leave here, we got to come away from it. It was something that was given to us. It was the best that our people knew. And now that we are in the information age and we see things differently, we got to come away from it. It don't mean we disrespecting, doesn't mean that we don't love. It just means we can't do it that way because it's not productive.
Yep.
Did y'all get anything today?
Tomorrow we're going to finish up the book of Acts chapter 27 and 28. Let's talk about, it'll just show us how Paul, while imprisoned, wrote the letters, many of the letters that we read and have, that we base our character, kingdom character, and things off of. Be a good read tomorrow. Join us.
Amen. I like what you said, Sister Paula. The young generation just knows it doesn't make sense to give money to get money. Yeah. They got another way to get money. And a lot of them are making thousands of dollars on social media. You're not going to just stand there and tell them they're not blessed. And the only way they can be blessed is give to you. I remember just recently, Pastor Curtis, here in Atlanta, I think they were at some church. Ivy Hilliard came down, and they were at.
They were at New Light. Not New Light. They were at Jamal Bryant.
Yeah, they were with Jamal. Yeah, and they were there, and there's a young crowd here. They're very up and coming. And so some of the rappers were in the audience, and Mr. Ivy Hilliard got up and he started to talk about what he had. And, what he was trying to do is petition the people to give. And he went through this whole rigmarole that he's rich and this is what God did for him and blah, blah, blah. And in the audience were a lot of well-to-do young people. And even though they may not have been dressed in those suits and all that, they were wealthy people. And they were offended. They were offended and they felt like he tried to play game on us. And it was a big to-do. It was T.I., it was a couple,
2 Chainz.
2 Chainz and their wives and a couple of other folks sitting on the front row. And they were offended that he tried to do the old switcheroo. Yeah. I'm gonna say
you gotta sow into my life to get blessed, is what he was trying.
Pretty much. And they were offended. And this is what they were saying on T.I.'s podcast. They said,
we already got that stuff you talking about.
And all you had to do was just ask us.
Yep.
You didn't have to play that game.
Yep. They said, if you'd have came and said, we want to do this and this and this, and we'd like you to give to it. He said, we was ready. We had money in our pockets.
They said they were ready.
But when you came with that, God ain't going to bless us unless we give you money, we just kept out. They started laughing.
They were offended. And the thing was, watch this. They had just been out all night.
Right.
At the strip club.
Right.
And they had just made sure that the women that were in the strip club dancing got paid.
They said, we don't have no problem taking care of our communities. We just left the strip club before we came here, because they consider that
helping the community.
That's what they consider going to the strip club for, helping their communities by throwing tens of thousands of dollars up on the stage.
They have to sweep up and they divide among themselves.
And I know a lot of people look down on that.
But that's what was in their hearts. They understood why these girls, it's entertainment for you, but it's work for us. I got kids to feed at home. I'm on my own with my children. I'm not in here just for fun. I'm in here to make this money so that I can go home and dress and feed my children. I never forget.
Because the church ain't doing it.
Okay. You just stood up here and ran game talking about your helicopter and your plane, and you can't be blessed unless you give to this and that and other. And they know they blessed. I never forget, I was in Target and this young woman came in. You could tell that she was a dancer. She had on some, she was covered up, but you could see what was under the covered up. And she had a bag, a duffel bag. And she had all these clothes, little children clothes. And she was putting the clothes up. And the lady was ringing it up. And some kind of way they got to talking. And she said, well, there's a new girl who has come in and she's got children. And so I want to make sure that her children will be able to go back to school looking like people. And she reached in that duffel bag, whatever the amount was, and she counted it out and took those clothes on out. And I thought to myself, well, dang. See, we look down on that, but this Generation Z, they got another mind. And while we've been giving up, they've been giving out.
Props.
Y'all understand? While we've been giving up, expecting something because we giving up, they going out here feeding the hungry, clothing the naked, welcoming people in their homes, helping. Do y'all understand? And when they come to our churches and they see things, and I'm gonna name Ivy here because he did it. And when I tell you they clowned T.I. and all his guests got on his podcast and they clowned, they were offended, and these are wealthy people. And when you're out of touch because they look a certain way, you think in a certain thing. They may not have been the best looking that day, but they weren't because they had been in the club all night. So they didn't have on no great outfits. They did look kind of bummy because I saw the video. But you're dealing with people who are multi-millionaires right now. I think one of them may be close to a billionaire. And you're not going to talk crazy to them.
Yeah,
they saw it as pimping.
Well, they saw it for what it was.
They saw it as pimping. He's trying to pimp us. He's trying to run game and pimp us. And they didn't like it. And they told Jamal.
And they didn't give nothing.
That's what they said. And we didn't give nothing. Because you didn't have to do that. You could have just told us what you want to do, and we would have gave the money because we were there to give the money.
That's what they came for.
That's why they came. They came to give them. We just left the nightclub. We gave them money.
They was just coming because you said.
You asked us to come and support. So we're coming to support. But you put this guy up who's out of touch. He getting up talking about what he got in my rank, my mansion, my this, and they were offended. You go into the poorest communities with that kind of stuff, and they were offended. So we gotta commend this Generation Z because they ain't for no mess. We was gullible. We went along with a whole lot of stuff, but that's the generation that watched their grandmama and their mama
struggle.
And they like and the preacher going up.
And that's the generation that paid grandma and mama's bills while they was going to church every Sunday. But when they needed financial help.
I just saw Jay-Z. See, we say all kind of stuff, but you can't get mad because they didn't seen a lot of stuff. Jay-Z just celebrated his grandmother's 100th birthday. I just saw this. He gave her this elaborate party. And she got up and, she wanted to, she talked about where she came from. But I didn't hear Jesus. I just heard, what she walked through. And maybe he told her, don't say nothing about Jesus. I don't know. Because he's taking care of her. There's a generation don't want to hear nothing about your pastor, your church, because I'm paying your light and gas bill. I'm paying the mortgage. And then when grandmama died, they don't even want to bury her. They don't want to even do the funeral. See, they don't forget stuff like that. My grandmother been at this church 42 years. You gonna bury her. Y'all gonna have some macaroni and cheese, pound cake, fried chicken.
They even gave her blood, sweat, and tears and everything to this church. And now y'all don't even want to bury her and have a repast for the family.
No. So this is what they're about. Yeah. And we have to come to the conclusion of, as adults and mature adults, we got to come away from that because our children and grandchildren are not with it. They've seen the results and it's not favorable. Did y'all get anything today?
Right. All right. Join us tomorrow. We're going to finish out the book of Acts tomorrow, chapter 27 and 28.
Listen, we want to give you the opportunity to give your tithe and offering. If you'd like to give your tithe and offering, you can do it by Cash App, $ Our Power, $ Increasing Faith. You can also do it by Givelify, Increasing Faith Ministry, or you can call us at 313-401-5953. I straightened out the Zelle, so you can also give to Zelle by using that telephone number, 313-401-5953. Don't forget MWAM. Just a reminder, our budget for this month is $1,000. If we get everything we're supposed to get and do everything we need to do, all things being equal, November the 1st, we'll be in Detroit. Amen. So again, we're asking those of you who can and will support by giving your tithe and offering. And if you can give more in your offering, please do so that we can meet the budget for this month going into our new location.
You can give by $ Our Power, $ Increasing Faith, and Cash App. You can download the Givelify app. You can increase Faith Ministry, your preferred ministry. Put your giving information in and make it real easy. 313-401-5953 if you want to give by Zelle, talk to Pastor Kevin. Don't forget him.
Again, we thank God for each and every one of you. You guys have an awesome day. Meet us back here tomorrow at the 8:15 hour. God bless. Have a wonderful day.
Love y'all.
Be safe out there.